Hello, hello. We are live. Hello, my name is Frank Kramer. I'm the founder of Eat Like a Vegan Chef. And tonight we have our monthly guest speaker, and you are in for a treat tonight. So let's wait until everyone is coming in. And again, tonight we are going to feature Kay Cooney. She's an advanced practice nurse, and I will introduce to her in just a moment. Hello, everyone. Please do me a favor and introduce yourself with your name and where you're from, so I know that you're there. Wonderful, wonderful, excellent. Hello, everyone. Okay, so for everyone who is new to our community, my name is Chef Frank. I am the founder of Eat Like a Vegan Chef, and I help people who wants to lose weight stop dieting by adopting a whole food, plant-based lifestyle. Welcome, everyone. And tonight you are in for a treat. So I'm going to introduce you in a few minutes to our guest speaker, Kay Cooney. Just give me a moment. We'll wait until everyone is here. Excellent. Thank you so much, everyone, for introducing yourself. Beautiful. Excellent. Okay, great. So I think it's time to introduce our guest speaker, Kay Cooney. She's an advanced practice nurse and a wellness educator. And, you know, she is basically on the same journey as we are, just a little bit further than us. She knows what she's doing. And, you know, but we are just like me, on a wellness journey. And we all want to, you know, age gracefully. And I think Kay has some really, really great things to say about gut health today.
Yes.
Which is really, really important and is part of our health journey, so to speak. And hi, Kay, how are you?
Hey, Chef Frank. I am so excited to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. Excellent. Yes, so Kay is going to talk about gut health today, which is probably one of the most important things you can think about when it comes to health, immunity, and wellness. I would say even happiness, because if your gut is not doing well, your brain is not doing well. You know this. But I'll leave it up to you. You know a lot more than me, but I can, from my experience, if your gut are not healthy, oh boy, you can have a whole lot of issues, and I'm sure you will. We'll talk about this later. And I'm very, very excited, and I'm going to take notes. I'm going to learn as well. So I'm really excited for your presentation tonight.
So I will tell you, your gut, as you say, your gut's everything. And in 2020 being the year that it's been, and we're all rethinking our health, and we're all rethinking wellness, and we're all rethinking the healthcare system. When you're done at the end of the last question we're going to answer tonight is, why aren't there any chefs in healthcare? Okay. Because if you think about food as medicine and how important it is, I would argue that next to the pharmacy window, if you had a chef window and you were handing out healthy meals, you'd be doing as much to make a difference in people's lives and health and wellness as the pharmacist who's handing out the pills. If not more so.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's where we're going tonight.
Wonderful, wonderful. I was hoping, and this is really where I think this whole whole food plant-based journey is going to, because in the end, as you said, food is medicine. And the reason, and I don't want to take away from you too much, but I think the reason why the hospitals are full is because of what we put in our mouth.
Absolutely, positively, no doubt about it whatsoever.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And I
So,
think,
so people should get, here's the graphic, right? Do you know that, you know how you can buy at the hardware store that hose with all of the little holes in it, right? And it's like a little sprinkler. So when you're putting out grass, you can put that down and the water comes out of all the hundreds of holes in it. So picture that being your gut from your mouth to your anus, okay? And make believe that you have all those holes in it. So what would you like to put in that tube to allow it to permeate your entire body? Doritos, cupcakes, ice cream, Diet Coke, right?
Yep.
Or would you want to put plant-based whole foods to nourish yourself? And that's what's happened. We have bought into this lifestyle, this marketing of this absolute, it's not even food anymore, right? It's plastics, it's nonsense, it's toxins. And that's what we are putting into our gut, and it's permeating in our body. And what is happening is cardiovascular disease, chronic illness, pain, fibromyalgia, all of this stuff is proliferating. Cancers, right? What percentage of our cancers are behavior driven? I would say over 90%.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Right. So that's the bad news, but that's the good news.
Yeah.
Right. Because we can fix that. And that's the fun. That's the fun part of this, and people need to understand what we're talking about tonight is the tube that nourishes your body is what we're talking about when we're talking about gut health. And it starts with your mouth.
Yeah.
And that's the journey we're going on tonight.
Totally agree. Wonderful. I'm excited. Wonderful.
Yes. And these are changes people can make tomorrow, right? So you don't got to get off of here and go read 12 things and change this and do this. You can make this change when you get off the call. And that's what I love about gut health. It's about basics, simplification.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I realize is that many of my members, they're afraid that their spouses are not coming on board. And actually most do. And that's really great. But what I realized is that if they would know our knowledge, what you know and what I know, so they basically saying, do I want to live 10 years longer or do I want to live 10 years less? And they all go for 10 years less. And, that's what they choose. It's scientifically proven that all this food what we're eating is damaging us, damaging our health. That's why our hospitals are full. And that's why the doctor is giving you a pill because, hey, you eat this food, okay, then I'll take a pill and then I'll feel better.
Yes.
But it's just a Band-Aid. It doesn't treat the source. And that's the issue.
I truly believe that the big processed food industry, which really was initially designed to make life easier for working moms and things like that, that big food is in bed with big farm.
Right.
Because at this point, big food knows what its processed foods are doing in terms of creating sugar addictions that are harder to beat than some illicit drugs.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And they know this. They know this, and they continue to make it. I will share just a quick story. This is not where I was planning on going, but I will tell you the story. I'm a type 2 diabetic and absolutely positively lifestyle driven, right? Yeah. Before I started this lifestyle, if there was anyone dirtier than me, I didn't know them because if it was junk, I ate it. I loved it. I craved it. And because I work such a stressful job as a hospice director, right, and dealing with death and dying every day, it was satiate, take care of yourself, right? I may as well just rubbed it right on my shoulders and my thighs. Long story short, as I started to realize the vicious cycle of diabetes and insulin. So insulin locks down your cells so that you cannot release fat and release weight and get rid of the weight. Yeah. Many of the drugs used to treat diabetes, the side effect is diabetes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we go this cycle. So I finally sat down with my doctor who I'd had for 20 years. And trust me, I think she retired because of me alone, right? I was the worst patient on the planet. I said to her, why did you ever put me on insulin? If you knew that it was going to lock down my cells and transport blood to my organs, Why did you do that? And she said, you had no interest in changing your diet. You wanted a quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
You were a nurse. You didn't do your work. You didn't want to have grown-up conversations. You came in and you wanted me to fix it.
Right.
And I was like, oh, reality. And she was right.
Yeah.
And I asked her about the drugs. And this is where it got scary. In order for her to get fully reimbursed for my care, there are certain metrics she has to achieve to get paid.
Yep.
And those include prescribing certain drugs.
Yep.
And this is the truth. We got into a cycle where I would purchase the drug so that the claim would process so that she could get paid, and I'd toss the drugs out.
Wow.
And that was how we stayed compliant. So we have a very broken healthcare system, and this is about empowering people. And when you talk about the spouses or the kids or the folks that cohabitate with those on the journey, but they're not joining us yet, it's okay. Be patient. Be patient. Yeah. I haven't seen a drop of diet soda in my house now in a couple of months, and that's a huge victory, right? Good. Nagging didn't work. Nagging didn't work. You got to set the example and stay steady, right? And they come slowly. And it's an 80-20, right? We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So everything we're talking about tonight is if you're getting this right 80% of the time, we allow a little goofing off for the other 20.
Yes.
Right? We were not put on this divine planet to suffer. So, if there's an indulgent to be had here or there, as long as 80% of the time you're nourishing this wonderful vessel that we've been given.
Yes.
I can live with that.
Very good. Very good.
Yes.
Excellent. That's actually a brilliant story, because I get many questions from my members say, how can I get my members on? And I said, you know what? Just eat and cook by example. Mm-hmm. Once after, let's say in about 3 months, both of you go to the doctor, and the doctor is going to give you a clean bill of health, and is going to give your spouse not so good of a clean bill of health. And then he or she is going to ask, hey, how did you do that?
Absolutely.
That's the key.
Model the behavior, right? 101 in leadership. Yeah. Lead the troops with your own, right?
Yep.
Be a product of the product, and then leave them alone. They'll come home wagging their tails behind them, right? Yes. Like the nursery rhyme.
Yeah.
Yes.
Definitely. Yes. Definitely. Wonderful. Okay, I'm excited.
I am ready to go. You give me the word and let me loose it. I'm going.
Okay, I see a ton of questions already coming in here, but I let you go. I let you talk, and you take it from here.
Okay, so I see the questions, you guys, just so you know yet, but I'm going to let me get started, right? Get my momentum, and then we will absolutely make time for questions. And worst case scenario, when all is done, I will come back here to the live feed and keep answering. So you will get all your questions answered tonight, I promise you. My name is Kay Cooney, as Shep said. I have been an advanced practice nurse now and been in nursing for about 30 years. I started clearly when I was 5 years old. I was a prolific learner. Most of my career was so I started off in pediatrics, and then I went into geriatrics, end-of-life care, pain management, hospice, palliative care, and found great pleasure in that career. I shifted to wellness a few years ago, about 3 years ago, when I lost my own parents, and my daughter was quite sick. And it was one of those wake up kind of thing that women do when they hit their 50s and kind of go, all right, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. Let's fix this body. And it has been a 3-year journey of massive change in my life. I never understood how powerful food is. And I had no idea that your gut is everything. So for everybody right now, we're in December, right? We've not been hit with the flu season yet. We've got COVID on the rise in many places. Yeah. And this couldn't be a better timed presentation in terms of what you need to do to care for yourself and strengthen your health and mental wellness and all of this. So let's talk about the gut. Okay. And the gut, and what's interesting is none of this is being taught to the nurses and the doctors. So when you go in for your appointments, I didn't know any of this stuff when I was nursing, right? That's probably my biggest number one and only regret. God, I wish I knew what I knew now then. And I had to work really hard for this knowledge. I had to dig and I had to sort through. So we were talking right before the show started, and you were saying, evidence-based practice, factual, staying on the cutting edge. Who do you trust? What's your resource? I shed a lot of tears of frustration in my first year on this journey, trying to understand what the truth was. And one of the things that happened to me, and it was so funny because my youngest daughter was with me for this appointment. My doctor sent me to a nutritionist, and I went in, and what she did was she handed me a 12-day diet plan, and on it was Cheerios, oatmeal, all processed foods, and it had the trademark, the General Mills trademark on it.
Right.
And I looked at her. Now, me, of all people who ate out of a garbage can practically, I looked at her and I said, "Where are the vegetables?" And she said, "Oh, well, those are just assumed." And I'm thinking, you're a nutritionist and you are handing me 12 pages of processed carbs telling me fill in the vegetables myself. And I started crying because I knew what she was telling me was a lie, that if I ate those foods she was telling me, my diabetes was going to get worse, not better. So my daughter was sitting next to me and she whispered in my ear, she goes, "Are you crying because you can never have pizza again?" And I'm like, no, I'm crying because our healthcare system is really, really broken, So this all starts in your mouth. And your gut is where 80% of your immunity is coming from. And what people don't realize is, what do we make in our gut that's so important? Dopamine. Okay. Dopamine and serotonin and GABA are 3 happy hormone friends. And when those guys are out of whack, nobody's thriving. Okay. Yeah. So when you see that you're missing those because your gut's gone out of whack, what's it look like? More anxiety, more depression. You feel the pain and aches in your body, right? What comes first, depression or pain? Pain or depression, right? So you start to have an increased sensation of pain. You don't sleep because if you're not making enough serotonin, you're not making any melatonin. So you're awake and you're not sleeping. And when you do sleep, it's restless. You're going back and forth and flipping and flopping all night long. The correlation between these 3 hormones is so imperative to understand, because I would argue that no responsible provider would put anybody on an antidepressant or an anti-anxiety until they've fixed their gut.
Right.
They should be prescribing 30 days of a good, high quality probiotic before they're handing over an antidepressant. People, I can't stress that point enough. So what that means is those of you that might be struggling during pandemic right now could very well be dealing with a gut imbalance. And why are we seeing so much gut imbalance? 30% rise in overeating, 30% rise in alcohol and illicit drugs, 30% decline in exercise. So fear has driven us in a behavioral pattern across our society that has been pretty devastating to our gut microbiome. So let's talk a little bit about what the gut looks like. You have 1 or 2 things going on. Your gut is either this beautiful green plush biome where all the neighbors mow their lawn every 4 days. The children all play nicely with one another. Everything goes wonderful. The mailman always shows up at 12. Everything is beautiful and green, and your gut's amazing. And how you got it that way was you ate a diet rich in green leafy vegetables and plant-based, and you stayed away from the sugar and the junk. Or maybe your gut looks like the ghetto, and they are running around with knives, guns, and spraying on the side of your lovely intestines. You are cramped up. You are bloated up. It is not good. It is so, so bad. You are awake at night. You are cranky when you wake up in the morning. You are not well rested. You do not have the reserves that you hope you did. And my God, what is going on there? And you look like a bloated mess. And every time you eat and go for that second or third round of, the junk, you look like you have a food baby, right? I love when people go, oh, I have a food baby. Would you just see what you just ate, right? So that's the extremes, and they're directly tied to what's coming in here. And there's a lot of good reasons why. Let's talk very, very briefly about pH balance, right? In an acidic environment, bacteria and illness will thrive. So if you have lots and lots of sugar, and you have lots of processed foods, and you have lots of these manufactured carbohydrates that are being pumped out in the supermarkets, you are ensuring that your body is being acidified, which it makes it the perfect host for colds, flu, all that good stuff. One of my Filipino friends, the first thing he said to me this week when he had a cold was, he said, what do you recommend for me to achieve alkalinity so I can start moving the virus out? And I was like, oh my God, if I could get Americans to start thinking like this, right? Mm-hmm. That's your number one thought. If illness is coming, how do we get alkaline? Guess what, people? Guess how we get alkaline? Green leafy vegetables. Okay. There's no accident, right? This all fits in and it makes sense. So when somebody has got a cold, so when you get sick right now, this is not the time to start munching on ice cream and pops and sugary things and soda. This is the time for you to drop over to the apple cider vinegar, to the green leafy vegetables, to the kombucha, to the different things that are going to start dropping your body's pH balance, right? Now, when's the last time anyone's doctor talked to them about their pH level? Right. But I can guarantee you in my house, if COVID rears its ugly head tomorrow, the first thing we're doing is going alkaline, making sure everybody's in the alkaline pot over this way. Right. That would be step one. Step two would be, does everybody's gut look like the nice neighborhood or the ghetto? Okay. So how am I going to start bringing everybody over to Mr. Rogers' neighborhood over here? Well, probiotics. I want a really good multi-strain, at least 8 or 9 strains or cultures in it, right? Because you want this nice diversity. The whole science of gut biome and who grows what, so they can actually pinpoint whether you are an Australian Aborigine or a New Yorker by the bacteria in your gut now.
Wow.
Right? Like, how crazy is that? It's like a whole new science. And so we're starting to learn what we want to see in the New Yorker versus the Aborigine, and what's going to start lending itself towards this track of disease versus this, right? Yeah. So the whole gut biome thing is, and all that really is that's just bioidentification of what's going on in our guts, right? So it's coming down to that sort of a science. This is not, how do I say this? This is not theory. This is, there's a hardcore science behind this. So yes. So now I've made my family alkaline. I've also put them on some probiotics. What's the next step? Because I know I want them happy, because there is a correlation between brain and gut health. Mm-hmm. And if you doubt that there is a strong correlation between brain and gut health, I'm going to ask you all for a second, if you'd humor me. I'd like you to close your eyes. I want you to picture the tallest building in your city. Empire State Building, John Hancock, Providence, the Tower in Chicago, wherever you are. I want you to go up to the top, no rail. And I want you to slide your toes, just your toes, not your whole foot, just your toes over the edge. And I'd like you to look down at the city below while you stand there on the edge of that building. Can you feel that in your stomach? Mm-hmm. You can open your eyes. You can feel that in your stomach. Yeah. And you weren't there. This was just in your head. So if you don't think your thoughts impact your gut, you are missing something. Healthcare is missing this. So when we talk about teaching and balancing, it's about managing your mind, managing your body, and managing your environment. Yeah. And when we talk about gut health, we're really talking about two pieces of that. We're talking about minding your mind and minding your body, and it's where the food is medicine. And when you nourish yourself with a plate of nachos, as opposed to nourishing yourself with this unbelievable arugula salad with, all these great vegetables that you've added on top of it and lovingly prepared for yourself on a gorgeous plate and sat to eat it, that's a whole different kind of self-care, when you say, I'm nourishing myself, right? We need to teach people that soothing eating looks very different, but it's the right idea. By all means, I want you to soothe yourself, just not with a Twinkie, right?
Yeah.
Get out there and start exploring. So what are some more things? So let's talk just a little bit more with our gut. What happens with our gut? So we've got this great tube that goes all the way down. It starts here. Here's the first thing. Nobody has ever, including our dentists, have ever talked to us about oral health care and the importance of what our tongue is telling us about what's going on in our body and feeding us. So if you want to increase your risk of pneumonia, just don't brush your tongue. Don't pay any attention. So folks with decay and a lot of issues going on in their mouth end up with more pneumonia and more lung involvement and more illness across the board. When people stick their tongue out, if it's yellowy, there's usually infection somewhere. If there's a white, thicker coat to it, it's probably an overrun of thrush, of different fungi and things that are going on there. If it's geographic, if it's sick looking, if it smells, right? Number one thing to start enhancing yourself when you're starting on a new lifestyle, when you brush your tongue, what do? You're getting all the junk and the decay off of the taste buds, right? So if you want to get the full flavor of the food, get the flavor tasters exposed, right? So take the brush. People ask all the time, what do I think about a brush versus a tongue scraper? This is the problem with the tongue scraper. We are so not mindful that people scrape it like they're scraping, God knows, junk off a plate. If you're going to use a tongue scraper, be gentle. But what I would suggest is it's nice and easy. Have a toothbrush. Use your toothbrush. Do you need toothpaste on your tongue? No, the friction's enough. I use maybe a little baking soda. But let's start with getting our opening nice and clean, right? And using that tongue as our litmus test as to what's going on in the gut below. Your food goes in. It goes down to the tube. Here's the little lovely projectiles on the side of your body. As your food starts to break down into small pieces, it goes in here, right? It gets trapped in here. And it gets broken down. And here come the blood vessels, like the New York City train, picks the pieces up and takes it all over the body, right? Beautiful, magical. What happens when your gut is so inflamed because of the foods you eat, because of the stress, because of all of those things, and now it's so swollen, it's shut, and the particles can't get in there? They come in much larger, and they start doing damage to the vessels. And what happens is things start leaking out into the whole body, leaking out into the bloodstream. What does this look like for you? This is when these vital processes that go on in your stomach that support your immune system start to break down. And you will notice that if your eating patterns changed a lot during COVID, you may have noticed more pain in your joints, less sleep, less restful sleep, right? Waking up cranky, not having the energy. All of that are symptoms. Okay. And we're going to share with you at the end of this. We actually have a treat for you guys that stay on to the end of how we're going to help you with your leaky gut and how we're going to help you know and identify some of the issues with you. So here's some more things. When your gut is leaking, you can't just keep throwing your multivitamins and things in there. That's like hanging curtains on a cave in Baghdad, right? Why bother? But what can you do? So when your gut is leaky like that, that is exactly the time that you start tightening up the diet, big time. You watch your water. We should all be drinking at least 50% of our weight in ounces daily, right? So we want to get the water in there. We want to be flushing. We want to be supporting and taking care of our bodies that way. We want to choose high nutritive foods. We don't want to cook the ever-living bejesus out of everything that we're cooking, right? Boy, if you're Irish, raise your hand. My mother boiled everything to death and then some. The truth is the water was probably more nutritious than what was on the plate, right? So we want to think about how we're preparing our food so that we're holding on to the nutrients big time. And some of the things that we can do to help our body getting back into line in terms of gut health. So what's it look like if you're out of balance right now? You're not sleeping well, you're cranky, you're bloated, things don't feel good. How long is it going to take you to turn it around? That depends on you. So I would say gut health probably takes a good 2 to 3 months to turn around, depending on the person. It's just a little, and you were somebody who is historically pretty healthy and you just fell off the wagon, can usually be done in about a month or so, right? If you're somebody who it's been 6 months or longer, a lifestyle of eating poorly, you're going to have a little bit more of a challenge. But how are we going to do this? We're going to do this with lots of water every day, lots of green leafy vegetables, a good probiotic that we always take on an empty stomach, because we want these live colonies to stay live and not be washed down with coffee or tea or whatever. We want, by themselves. You may make the decision. This is the one and only time I advise people with digestive enzymes. I don't like to put in the body anything the body can make on its own. I prefer to let the body do its thing. But when it comes to gut health and leaky gut and the body being overrun, this is a time when you can help the body out. So add a few more digestive enzymes in there until your body gets back to making them so that you are absorbing your nutrients. And then if you feel you need it. So this was one of my challenges, and I lasted 16 days before I quit and surrendered, and I don't quit anything. My challenge to myself was, could I eat all of my nutrients daily without a supplement? So I went through and I took all of the American recommended daily allowances for all the fruits and vegetables, looked at them in my diet, sat down and ate them. And I can remember it was day 16 and I was sitting on the couch and I was so sick and tired of chewing. Right? I felt like a goat. I had been eating. My plate looked like a Thanksgiving platter full in order for me to get to that amount. And I had to, as soon as I finished eating, I had to go right back into the kitchen and keep cooking again. I was not skilled enough to be able to successfully eat all of the daily requirements on my own without supplementation. So we look at that. And one of the big things that we know with gut health is, in your gut, vitamin B, all the different subparticles of vitamin B and vitamin K are made in mass quantities. So if your gut is leaky, B might be one of those vitamins that you need to consider, right? Adding in a little bit of K may be something that you have to consider. So we want to think about all of these things, because our number one choice is always to eat them, right? Whenever possible, we want to eat them and absorb them. And then if we can't, then we want to make sure we're supplementing with supplements that are as close to food-based as possible, right? It does not make sense to eat well all day and then take some cheap petroleum-based, multivitamin that is just going to bring more toxins than goodness into your body. That's the same as junk food.
I'll be right
back. I'm going to keep talking. So we talked about that. Why gut health matters. It's your immune system. It's your mood. We covered all that. Okay, some more of the signs other signs that you may have a leaky gut: chronic diarrhea, constipation, bloating, nutritional deficiencies, fatigue, headaches, confusion, difficulty concentrating, and I forgot, skin problems. Right? So when your skin is breaking out, rashes are the most primitive form of stress that our body shows. So whether it's psoriasis, dermatitis, or just breakouts or acne, all of those scenarios are very frequently diet related to them. Okay. We talked about the brain and the gut axis, right? We talked about GABA, serotonin, melatonin, all those great things that we want our gut to be eating, and we've got to nourish them to do that. There is a tie, a very strong tie, and we saw a little bit of this when we talked about the brain-gut axis, that stress further feeds the problems with our gut. We also know from Chinese medicine that certain emotions stay tucked away nicely in the GI system. Anger, worry, fear will all hang out in your gut. So people who have had long-standing post-traumatic stress, abuse, things like that, will carry hand in hand in their gut. And if you don't believe that, go back to the exercise about standing on the edge of a building and looking down. That, what you thought in your head, goes right through the neurosynapses to your gut and back. right? And there's a vibrational frequency energy of those emotions. The frequency of those emotions, anger, sad, is the exact same frequency as our gut. So like goes to like, and it hangs there. So part of when we talk about releasing, right? And I had said to you about your body, about your mind, about your environment. That's the mind part that we can work with helping heal the gut by releasing some of that stuff. Let's see. Questions that I can answer. How are we going to stop this once and for all? High nutritive foods, nutrient dense foods that nourish the body. Foods that are fermented that can help replenish the bacteria. All hugely important, really important stuff. So now I can answer. I feel like I've been going on and on. What questions can I now answer?
Okay, I'm going to go see if I find the first questions here.
Okay.
I have a lot of comments, but if you guys want to start putting out questions, please do so now. Pamela mentioned something here. Can you see the question?
Yes, I can see that.
Excellent.
So what I would say to you, and again, so please understand, Pamela, that I am answering your question about EE disease and acid reflux from the perspective not of a healthcare provider, but from a wellness person. So there is a whole school of thought that I ascribe to now, that which we think, the stress, the anxiety, all bring inflammation into the body. I feel that you can, with the right combination of diet, along with changing mindset, reducing anxiety, putting the two of those hand in hand together, you can make tremendous impact on EE disease. You really can. I've seen it repeatedly. And the thing with EE disease is there's a lot of the elimination diet piece to it, right? I had a friend who the only thing his son could tolerate was sweet tarts, right? He could do this junky candy. He couldn't tolerate anything else. And I was like, oh my God. And it honestly wasn't until he started to be able to put some good things back in his diet that he started to heal.
Okay. JC is saying
Jazzy Daza. Is it Jazzy Daza? Girl, I would like to change my name officially. I stay bloated and gassy. So if you're bloated and gassy, most likely you've got some leaking going on. So one of the things, and how would we start tackling that? We'd start changing up the diet, we'd get some probiotics in there. There are some cases where I say to people, you know what? You've done all the things. Maybe we have to do a big cleanse, right? I think there's some folks where we just got to shake it up, but I don't necessarily go there first, right? Because especially right now, because what's happening to your immune system when I cleanse you in that vulnerable window, right? So I'm not a big fan of cleanse in December. Like come the spring, yes. But if you've done everything right, Jazzy, and you've eaten and your food and you're doing all the right things and you're still bloated and gassy, you may be somebody who benefits from a cleanse if you're already doing a probiotic. I wanted to mention, so the reason how I got here is Candace McMahon, who is a, do we say customer? She is one of the loyal following for Chef Frank. And her and I worked together doing this whole wellness piece. So we were talking before this, and we thought, okay, so what's the special thing that we can offer to Chef Frank's friends? So I have this amazing remote scanner, and you do everything's remote. I send you a link, it goes to your email, it uses biofeedback, it's phenomenal. It actually gives us some insight as to whether or not you have leaky gut, adrenal fatigue, overall inflammation, trapped emotions. But love it. Like I wish I had that tool when I was nursing. We are going to offer a freebie to each and every one of you that's interested. So we will put that information out to you, but you will be able to get a scan. And basically, I'll send you back a quick paragraph. I can't do the whole full scan because there's more of you than there are of me, and this would completely make my week go haywire. But what I can do is I can go right in and look at the gut and reply and go, yeah, you would benefit from, tackling your gut right now. And I think that's really valuable information to have given the time of year. So before we wrap up, I'm going to tell you how we're going to do all that. Candace, if you hear me and you want to post it in the group in the comments, that would be probably really helpful. All right. Another question. Oh, God, stress and cortisol. Please, please, please. So this is what I'm seeing now. Nobody has any adrenal glands left, right? So what happens with extreme adrenal fatigue, which is really just burnout and worry, right? Anybody around here else worrying about anything? So the cortisol from your adrenal glands starts packing it all the weight around your belly, right? That's another sign that we see when people are in adrenal fatigue. Untreated adrenal fatigue will always end in leaky gut, right? It always goes hand in hand. So, and there's two types of adrenal fatigue people. Those that were born to worry, right? These are the kids that came out and they corrected the doctor when the doctor cut the cord, and then they sat and worried about it for the next, 20 years of their life, right? There's the worriers. They were put here to worry. Then there's those of us who are not accustomed to that, but under strange situations. So like September 11th, 2020, where the worry and the pressure is constant. When I'm scanning people right now, I am seeing adrenal fatigue in probably 9 out of 10, like that prevalent. And I'm seeing gut, leaky gut, about 7 out of 10.
Wow.
It's crazy. Yeah. Yes. Thank you, Candy. I appreciate that.
Okay, good. I had okay, that was just Pamela.
Yeah. So Pamela, so yes. So, all right, here's the thing. So part of when we partner with people and we do these these tests, one of the tests produces a 17-page report. Okay. Nobody needs to know that much about their body. You pick the 1 or 2 things that are going to make the difference. And that's why the time of this presentation, right now, the things I'm focusing on with people is 1, fixing the gut, right? Whatever that looks like for them. 2, fixing the adrenals, right? And then 3, fixing their environment and reducing the toxins in their household because we're all stuck indoors. Right? That's kind of like where I'm at right now. And you're right, Pamela, we put together a plan and we focus on one thing. That's it. Baby steps. You don't have to eat the elephant all in one bite.
Right.
What specific foods have melatonin? So tart cherry juice is a great one to have before bed. Foods with tryptophan that have 5-HTP, which is the precursor for making serotonin and melatonin, are found in chicken and our friend turkey, right? But what it comes down to is if you rebalance the gut, you will improve your melatonin production. Thank you, Virginia. I appreciate that question.
Okay, the question's coming in now. Let me get. My daughter has eczema, and the doctor said her eczema would never go away. Oh my goodness.
Ay caramba, Miss Kimberly P. Thank you for that question. I would respectfully disagree. And what I would say is that there are ways to prioritize and structure her diet in such a way. See, when doctors give us this advice, I do not believe that they in any way mean to be negligent or harmful. I don't think they know any better. And I don't think that we were taught enough in school about stress, anxiety, and the impact of food. So I would respectfully disagree. And if that was my child, all right, let me put it this way. So I had, at one point in time in my life, was probably 80% covered in psoriasis. My children, I'd raised 5 teens. I would walk through the house and my silver flakes would flick off of me as I walked by, and they would scream, "You're gross, you're disgusting, don't sit in the couch." Okay. I was every cream known to mankind, and we were at the point of looking at a chemo agent, methotrexate, and I said, absolutely not. If you don't notice any psoriasis patches on me, no pills did that. Diet did.
Wow. Well, and I can attest to that too. I had eczema before I became a vegan, before I became whole food plant-based vegan. And it's all gone. It's all completely gone. So it's absolutely amazing. Diet really changes you.
Yes.
Okay. The link is here, by the way. You can just copy and paste it.
Yes. And all I ask of that is just give me a little bit of time and patience. I will tackle all of your requests tomorrow and Candace and I will work to get that out to all of you. But we'll get it done. And if there's more you want to learn about your scan, yes, we can book appointments. I do not charge at all for an initial consult. I feel like understanding and being empowered about your wellness is really important. So yes, we can book time and do that. This week has still been a little crazy because end of the month and beginning of the month is difficult. What are good anti-inflammatory foods and supplements? So good question, Liana. Thank you so much. So let's talk about what's really inflammatory, and that would be your acidic foods. So your junk, sugar, all of that stuff causes inflammation. If it didn't grow in the ground, there's a good chance it's causing some inflammation when you put it in your mouth.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Right. Like it's that cut and dry. What are some of the good supplements and antioxidants? So again, you can look at this a couple of ways. I am a big fan. I use a daily antioxidant that's made with wolfberry and selective essential oils called Ningxia Red. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Huge ORAC score on it. It does great antioxidant work. What are antioxidants? We're making junk in our factory, our body factory all day long, and we need to get rid of it, the byproducts, the breakdown. And you do that through your diet, through lots of water, and through some supplementations from time to time. As I said, I struggle with the cost and the time needed to be fully supplement free. God knows I tried. So there are lots of good foods, fruits, and berries. Do your homework, and I'm happy to make recommendations. Do your homework on supplements and what you put into your body. The vast majority of what's out there is petroleum-based. And people don't realize that the pharmaceutical industry started between Carnegie and Rockefeller. They were trying to figure out what to do with their petroleum-based products, and they then became massive influences of the healthcare community. So much of what you walk into a local drugstore chain for a multivitamin that you think is wonderful, I'll name just one, Centrum, for example, #1 selling vitamin in the United States. Yeah. They cannot sell what we purchase in the United States in Europe because it's considered too toxic, but it's our #1 vitamin that we purchase in the US.
That's crazy, isn't it?
It's insane. Yeah. Insane. So I don't know that answers your question. All you have to do is ask me about picking a good supplement. I'll go down a rabbit hole all day long because that stuff makes me crazy. And reach out to me. I don't want to use Chef's platform as my own marketing tool. I will happily answer these questions off there. This is a neutral discussion on gut health, not a shameless promotion. What type of probiotic is best? So you want live, right? So if you're reseeding your gut to take care of your mental health, your absorption of nutrients, spend your money on a really good probiotic. And yes, I have one I'd be happy to recommend to you. Live, multicultural, goes in the fridge once you've opened it because it needs to stay alive because the cultures are alive, and that you are taking it on an empty stomach. That's where you're at with your probiotic. Your prebiotics are what you're eating with your fiber. right? So feed the guys that are in there with your fiber, and then grow more guys that are there with your probiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God. Okay. So this is so funny. So thank you, Donna. All hand sanitizers and harsh cleaning products have killed the gut health. So in January, you will see my face again, and we're going to come back and we're going to talk about toxins in the environment. But here's a funny thing. So my mother used to always get on my backside, and this is her comment: nurses are the dirtiest people on the planet. They don't wash their hands. Okay. So not true. My mother was a tough character. No, I never overwashed my hands. We never had hand sanitizer in my home until COVID hit, and it was because I bought it for people to have. In the house, you wash your hands with soap and water,
Right.
and not much soap, and you don't boil them, right? You're not a potato. You don't boil your hands, right? So you wash. It's the friction that's everything. And when you're using a sanitizer or soap, you want something all natural. People have made themselves sicker during all of this with the gunk they're putting on themselves. So yes, thank you. I don't believe that we are in any way helping with antibacterial that is impacting our gut. Do you think much gut damage has happened because they're overeating on Thanksgiving? Do you recommend water fasting before we take your test? Oh my gosh, I love your group. So what I would say is, in order to get the best reading possible, 2 hours before, you want to make sure that you haven't just eaten anything, because that will show and skew the scan and make it more recent versus global. So that's a great point. So two. How about the gut damage from Thanksgiving? So you know what it really depends on? It depends on what your Thanksgiving looks like, right? So was this a great opportunity for you to eat lots of veggies, or was this a carb fest? So if it was a carb fest, all we did was push our guts all over the edge, right? But if you're somebody who the majority of things on your plate were fresh and green and leafy, you're probably good to go. But yeah, think about how sick we all get, right? We go Thanksgiving, then we go into the holiday rush, and yeah, all bets are off. There's the other thing, people, too. I get we are entering into the most indulgent time of the year. This is just education. This is 80-20. So for example, my advice during Thanksgiving was, if you're going to have the mashed potatoes, cut back on the stuffing. Right? Like, we can do some compromising here, but you can't have it all.
Yeah.
Do you have a recommendation for age-related dry? You know what? So what I would say is, Neda, I'm reluctant to give any kind of direct advice. I would be happy to sit with you and take a look at your diet and see where it is from there. Diet or trapped emotions, lots of different things we can look at. But yes, reach out to me, to the address you put. I'm happy to discuss that with you. Stacy. Oh, keratosis pilaris, chicken skin. So much of what you guys are bringing forward, right? If I had to discuss, every single one of us dies from the exact same cause: inflammation. When I learned that in school, my jaw dropped, and I'm like, nuh-uh. Every single thing you're throwing at me right now is inflammation, okay? When COVID hits people, it's not the virus that hits them and bothers them. It's the inflammation and the cytokine storms, right? What is dermatitis and eczema? Inflammation. Almost everything you're throwing at me, including the keratosis, is inflammation. So getting to the underlying thoughts, actions, otherwise, that are stored in the body, and looking at the food we're putting in. Remember, mind, body, environment. Is there something in the environment that's irritating? Is there something in your head that's irritating? Is there something in your gut that's irritating? Mm-hmm. Right? The answer to one of those three is yes. And that will help with the answer, Stacy. And I'm happy to help you explore that. Thank you all for your questions. This is so much fun, because I'm a geek like that.
1 second.
Sure. What are the best stool softeners? Oh, that's so easy. The ones that come out of the ground, right? So
That's right.
let me tell you about this. So in nursing homes, one of the metrics that every state measures is constipation and impaction. Those are considered sentinel critical events. I had a nursing home that was underneath my care. And what I did was I changed them from the stool softener, right, which they were using annulose, lactulose, Miralax, all this stuff. We switched it to prunes, bran, applesauce. There's one more thing. And brand, applesauce, rice. Anyhow, it was 4 foods. Every person got 2 tablespoons of this with their breakfast every morning. We eliminated, I think it was something like $30,000 in medications a month.
Wow.
And had no episodes of constipation. So, Micheal, what I would say, Allan, what I would say is increase your water so you're drinking 50% of your body weight or more, up your green leafy vegetables and stay ahead of it. Lots and lots of fiber. Fiber is your absolute best bet. Stool softeners is a double-edged sword, right? The peristalsis of your intestine starts to not be as efficient when you don't ask it to work the way that it's supposed to work.
Yeah. Excellent. This is a good topic. And you know what? We'll talk about it tomorrow, but my meal plan is designed to do exactly that. I visit my toilet twice a day. You can put the clock to it.
Yes.
And I never have any issues, ever. I never have any, how you call it, babies? Food babies?
Food babies.
Whatsoever.
Yes.
It's the most beautiful thing. It's like clockwork. And I literally don't spend more than 2 minutes on the toilet.
Yes.
So it's
yes.
It's beautiful.
So what's a healthy gut look like? About 2 or 3 times a day, right? When you eat, you should be going. It should not be a strain.
Yeah.
And often, and Allan, I really appreciate this question because these are the things you don't think to talk about, but you're asking the question that 100 other people are thinking about is the whole issue of trapped emotion. So when I see somebody struggling with long-term constipation, it's about the hard to let go of things. Control is an issue.
Right.
I have a buildup of mucus. So is the mucus, and Miss Jacqueline, I have a daughter, Jacqueline, so I love that. When you're talking mucus, would you just clarify for me, are you talking about gut mucus or lung mucus? If you're talking about gut mucus, using digestive enzymes in between meals can be very effective in breaking that up. And if you're talking about lung, then that's more of an issue of let's take a look at your diet.
Mm-hmm.
How do we reduce the inflammation? Okay, so what is causing the inflammation? Lots of sugar and junk, and people being more acidic than alkalinic. So you're going to start this by getting yourself so that you're far more basic, right? How do we do that? Apple cider vinegar, green leafy vegetables. Okay. How do we reduce the inflammation? We stop the cause. We do the diet elimination thing. We figure out what's causing the inflammation. There are supplements, products, anti-inflammatories, all natural ways, essential oils. There are a ton of things. CBD. All of this stuff can help reduce the inflammation when you're acutely uncomfortable. But the real answer to every single question is food is medicine. It's what we come back to. Now, some of us are feeling so crummy right now. We need a quick release, or we can't commit to having the diet that we know is best for us. That's where supplements and other products come in. But it is about food. So, Miss Jacqueline, lungs. So, and that's so funny because my Jackie is a lungs too. So what emotions reside in the lungs? Grief. So if I would sit down with you and I'd say, okay, was there a loss? Was it that? What are you eating? How much dairy is involved? What's the different things going on? But with you, again, remember, what are you thinking? What are you eating? What are you touching in your environment every day? And do a scan and we can talk.
Just a little thank you.
Helpful lingo. I salute you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh, Linda, hands up. So there's my favorite. So I am the patron saint of the fibromyalgia men and women out there. Okay. Fibromyalgia is a combination of diet and mindset, environment. So what do we do with fibromyalgia pain?
You were breaking up.
It's the trio. It's how do we reduce all the toxins in your household, right? That are causing you inflammation. How do we reduce the toxins in your diet that are causing inflammation? How do we reduce the negative thoughts and the pain and the trauma that's been hanging out in your head, right? All three of those together are a wonderful combo for fibro. Now, what do you do in the interim? So yes, again, something like CBD or essential oils is wonderfully helpful, but the real answer is in the lifestyle change. And we can help you with that. You're in the right place.
Yeah. Look at Vicky. She's asking me if I'm recording this. Vicky, that's why I go with StreamYard and not with Zoom. Because Zoom, you have to click the button. And with
I never remember.
It's automatically being recorded. It's actually, you can watch this video. You can watch it on YouTube tomorrow.
Oh, awesome.
It's right now being streamed on YouTube. So awesome. you can watch it on YouTube tomorrow. It's not going to be, YouTube is strange. When you live stream on YouTube with the software, it's going to be visible tomorrow. So not today, but right now it's live. For some reason, that's why.
Yeah. Who knows?
This is going to be forever on YouTube, and you can download it, you can watch it, whatever you want.
Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate your kind words. I was born with a passion disorder, so I could talk day in and day out about the adrenals, the gut health issues. And here's the thing. I do not stand on a soapbox, right? I come from having the dirtiest body in the planet, having made important changes. So I get the struggle, right? I am a real person. I am not a soapbox preacher. I have rheumatoid arthritis, and I have, do I think you can do it with diet alone? I think you can do it with diet and lifestyle, right? So it's if you can do it with the diet lovingly, right? So people make a change and they begrudgingly have turned over to salads and they're now a vegan. They miss their cheeseburger and they stay deprived and, life is terrible and I need a hot dog. That's not going to get you any better. Nope. That doesn't work. Yeah. You can't fight it. You got to go in for the lifestyle change of, can I change how my body feels and can I change my mind in the process, and have this 3-pronged approach of cleaning my house, cleaning my brain, cleaning my body. Yes. You can do magical things, Kimberly.
Yeah. Thank you, Susan, for commenting. She was just saying she's watching it on YouTube. Migraines.
Same thing. So I think a lot of our migraines are hormone related. Hormones start in the gut. So the precursors, the DHEA, which is the building block for most of our endocrine system, as well as the GABA, the dopamine, the serotonin in the gut. I believe that when you start changing that and you start looking at, so what emotions drive migraines? What emotions are the frequency of the brain? I've seen tremendous relief with food changes, as well as, believe it or not, frankincense is very helpful for migraines. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Betty B. I'm so glad that you did. Thank you. I like seeing your daylilies, especially in December. Oh, sister, psoriatic arthritis. Yes. Same thing. So what is psoriatic arthritis? It is, and again, remember earlier I had said to you, covered head to toe in psoriasis. So I know this game really well. Whether it's keratosis pilaris, psoriatic arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, Every single one of these is inflammatory. We live in an environment where we've got wood that has toxic offloading in our home. Our carpets and our furniture and our clothing are treated with chemicals, right? They're off-gassing all the time. It's crazy. We live in this toxic world. Yes, we can show you how to detox. And yeah. Jacqueline, you're so welcome. That's the second Jacqueline. I've enjoyed you too, and I love your questions. If you are mad at the good food you are eating, it won't serve you. Yes. Yes. Right. So I make sure, thank you, Miss Erica. I love your little elf pictures. Using the good china, right? If you're not eating the good china, or eating on the good china, what are you waiting for? The good company's not coming. It's you. Are nuts okay to eat? So I think that's it depends on the individual. Some people do really well with nuts. Peanuts, no. Peanuts are just dirty. And they taste so good, and I love my peanut butter, but peanuts are not your friend. Peanuts are inflammatory. One more question, doctors. I'm not sure I understand.
I don't know. I thought it was some kind of acronym.
What about peanuts and fungus? Oh, yes. So let's think about this. Yes, when I scan people having eaten peanuts, thank you, Isabel. This is a great question. Mycotoxins and fungus come out on the Zytoscan. The Zytoscan is that scan that I was mentioning to you guys. Absolutely linked together. And why is it? So you see this with peanuts. You see this with grapes, right? With wine. You see this with coffee. You see this with some teas. It's about the farming practice. So they go out, they pull the peanuts out, they go into a big hanger to dry out. Coffee leaves, nicotine, they go into the hanger to dry out. What happens when things are drying out? Mold, fungus, spores are landing on them. Yep. And then what happens is that's what we're getting. So when people talk about peanut allergies, do they have peanut allergies or are they reacting to the fungus and the spores? Right? It's crazy. Crazy. So thank you. Neuropathy, any hope? Absolutely, positively. I have seen lots of good changes with increasing circulation. Again, mindset, diet, and one of the things that I love for neuropathy is a good combination of ginger and lemongrass. Applied, essential oils. Just good on acid reflux. How do I fix it? Hypothyroidism. Okay, acid. Look at me. I feel like, okay, hold on. We got answers. Acid reflux. So let's get your body a little bit more alkalinic. So how do we do that? So we can do that by adjusting the pH, more green leafy vegetables, right? We can get you on a probiotic. We can use a little bit of apple cider vinegar as we're getting you there. You want to work to get your body more basic so you have less acid in the belly, okay? So it's that, and the hypothyroidism. The whole hypothyroid issue is, again, hormones. How do we start getting rid of the hormone disruptors? Your hormones are getting disrupted by your perfume. They're getting disrupted by the cleaning products in your house. They're getting disrupted by your face cream, your makeup, everything. Let's get rid of them. Yes, and tobacco and marijuana will also show up with fungus and spores because of the way that it's processed and dried out. Hashimoto's, same thing. Inflammation. All of you, yep. We're all the same. So the inflammation, our bodies are all the same. And remember when I started telling you, we all die of the same thing, inflammation. It's your body's overreaction to an imbalance. So it's about bringing it back into balance. So whether it's your thyroid, your gut, your adrenals, your brain, your hormones, balance, homeostasis. Yes, Miss Debbie, put it in place. Balance, basics. Start thinking about everything that's passing those lips. The inflammation includes, yes. So I have a sister with lupus. Absolutely her diet and absolutely her mindset.
Wow. Okay.
Diverticulitis. Oh my God. Diane? Yes. So all that is that's the inflammation that's in somebody's Thyroid is in somebody's large intestine, right? Hepatitis, inflammation in the liver. Kidney disease, inflammation in the kidneys. So it's all about the inflammation. So I have a mold allergy affecting my gut too. Again, we start looking at what's in the brain, what's in the mouth, what's in the environment. Yes, you would be surprised. You have a mold allergy. So if you have not eliminated tobacco, coffee, tea, marijuana, grapes, wine, all that stuff, you're exposing yourself to molds.
Okay. Like everyone who is a member right now, we're going by the soap-free lifestyle, which is, the 5 ingredients which we don't eat. And that's basically exactly what Kay is referring to.
What are the 5 foods? That's so funny because if it is, I didn't know. So what?
We actually came up with the acronym. It's sugar, alcohol, oil, animal products, and processed foods. So that's all.
You nailed it, guys. Right? You didn't need me to come tell you, but I'm reinforcing you nailed it.
No,
right?
you're nailing it. You're doing excellent. I mean, you putting out some real great information.
Awesome.
Love it.
Awesome. I do love this. Fatty liver. So the liver, I love the liver. The liver is like a starfish, right? It is the most forgiving organ you have in your body, and it will regenerate. So with fatty liver, it's part of this vicious cycle that goes on with the food that comes in, right? Change your diet, reduce the cholesterol, get the sugar and the insulin resistance all under control. And lo and behold, that liver will go in and do magical things. Yep. None of that is irreversible. That's fixable. Narcolepsy. Oh my goodness, you guys are throwing me all these great curveballs. So I don't know that there is a disease on the planet that is not inflammation driven in some way, shape, or form. And what I would say is what I would do with the narcolepsy is I would look at this from the 3 ways. Narcolepsy is slightly more complicated, but same thing. Fix your environment, fix your mind, fix your body with your food. CBD cream for inflammation. Okay, so that's a whole nother presentation for like maybe February or March. Here's the thing with CBD. I like a really good CBD isolate. I represent a company that does do CBD, and they do it incredibly well. It is an isolate. This is the number one thing that you need to know about your CBD. The hemp plant is a phytoremediator, right? So we're talking about plant-based here. So let's talk and let's get to it real quick. Farmers used to plant a crop of CBD or hemp to help pull all of the toxins out of the soil, the heavy metals, the herbicides, the pesticides, anything that spilled over. You then end up with a very dirty hemp plant. If we're not careful with what we choose for our CBD, we are at risk of exposing ourselves to heavy metals and pesticides and herbicides, which we don't want. So do I recommend CBD for inflammation? Absolutely. I think it's a great balancer as you're getting your body back in, right? Do you want a Band-Aid or a solution? Band-Aids are very helpful when pain's involved. Pain's a terrible thing. So yes, I am a fan of CBD as well as dietary changes with it hand in hand. And just be careful with your CBD. Why do you say grapes are not good? It's not that grapes aren't good. It's in the wine process, there's a lot of sulfates. There's a lot of things added. There's a lot of molds and spores that you're going to find in wine. People are wine drinking because these are grapes that have sat out and collected a lot of spores on them. Yes, everybody will act. Yeah, somebody's Crohn's is somebody's Hashimoto's is somebody's diverticulitis is somebody's lupus. Right? It's amazing. I mean, you guys are hitting them all. This is incredible. Neda, you are so welcome. This is an absolute privilege to do this with you guys. Amway site has CBD. No comment.
Sorry, I didn't see that.
Yep. I suffer from IC, so much pain. I use, but still looking for the fix. So what I would say, Amanda, is reach out to me if we can explore that further, and or do a scan. See what the scan shows up. Right, the Zyto scans are pretty helpful.
That's a good question. Yes, they are okay to cook with this. Again, when we, for instance, we also use liquid aminos, which is a highly processed seasoning, but we're using it literally in drops, and so that's okay. When I talk about no oil, then I talk about sautéing vegetables with oil. So by doing this, we literally save thousands of calories per week. Because if I've mentioned this many times before, every time you cook a meal, you cook with about 2 tablespoons of oil. And 1 tablespoon has 250 calories. Times 2, then 500 calories per meal. You do the math, you do this times 7 is 3,500 calories per week, what you literally eat. And all these calories you save, we can eat in vegetables. So if you season your food with these oils you're referring to, you literally add a drop of oil. So that is, I wouldn't say that's against the SOPA style. When I refer to that, I'm talking about a huge amount of oil, like I mentioned, a tablespoon.
And they're very different. So when you're looking at a carrier oil like a coconut oil or an olive oil, you're talking about a large molecule oil that has caloric association with it, as opposed to 1 drop of, say, let's use lemon, right? Because lemon's a really common oil that people know. 1 drop of lemon oil is coming from the rind. It's not coming from the juice, and has very little calorie added. And I think that's a great question for somewhere down the line, because my goal was to stay on gut health tonight, and I use the oils for cooking. Oils is a misnomer. When you talk about essential oils, you are really talking about a plant extract. There's very little about them that's oily.
Right. That's actually a good point. Absolutely.
How should I choose a good CBD cream? I will ask you if you would take that offline with me. I'd be happy to answer that for you, because that's a whole nother hour presentation. But there's a thing called the COA, certificate of analysis, that you want to be looking at in your CBD products. Does organic wine have sulfates? So Janice, here's a really good information on the term organic. In the United States, when something is labeled organic, it is only required that 5% of the overall content is organic. So the let's say the additive of blueberry flavoring is organic, and the grapes were basically laying around in the ground and have been sprayed with pesticide and herbicide, and it gets and earns the title of organic. Buyer beware when you see the term organic. Look up in Google what organic actually means in the US. Not good.
I guess that's a question for me.
Yes. Yeah. If it's a cooking question, hold on. I tap out to the chef, please.
Yeah. We were, you know what, Janice, we can tackle this on my cooking live stream on Thursday at 1 p.m. I'm featuring cooking without oil, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. I will answer this question, if you don't mind.
If you have joined us late and you're interested in getting a free scan, and basically all I'm committing to, because there's more of you than me, is looking at the section on gut. If you want to know whether or not where you're at in terms of gut health, in the chat there, Miss Candace McMahon will be placing the link for that and how to get in touch with her with any additional questions on this.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just reading the comments here.
Yeah, no, that's okay. This is the hard part. This is when you have to be a grown-up and you sit here, because all I want to do is peek at the comments and
I know, I'm so
them.
sorry. This is the only drawback. Yeah. But I thought you would see the questions on your side.
Sometimes you do. So I don't know live stream enough, and that's okay. That's okay. I'm really glad that people are being so interactive and engaging. I hope we've given you some good food for thought around gut health. And some of the things you can do. Yes, we can guide you with supplementation, but you came to the right place with you're looking for the right answers to your question of food is medicine, right? So for the same reason that we're going to give yourself the absolute best food, we also want to talk about how do we take care of your brains and your thoughts, because your thoughts have energy and power, and how do we clean up the junk out of your house, right? So, I'm very grateful to Candace for putting us together. Chef Frank, I think I would love to continue to be able to support your community. It's a good group.
Sure, absolutely. I'm so happy you came today. I truly enjoyed it today. It was absolutely enlightening, wonderful to hear about all this gut health. This is truly amazing, truly amazing. And you went into detail about all these, about our hormones, which is eye-opening. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it really, there's a million good reasons. And if people are looking for more information on understanding food as medicine, there's a book that I really like called Undoctored. And I really like what Dr. Davis has to say about empowering yourself and using food as medicine. I have been, for your whole plant-based since January. Am I absolutely positively? Yes. It will, Diane, right? You got to love it.
Yeah.
If you can't get the link, email our girl Candy.
That's right. Okay.
Awesome.
I take care of this. You know what? Okay. How can get people in touch with you? Do you want me to? Do you have a Facebook site or page?
So if people have any questions, I would say you use the Essence of Wellness email that Candy has put out there. And she will put it all together for me, and then I'll jump in and tackle and answer questions and do whatever I have to do. So yes.
If you want me, I'd be happy to distribute it through my email. Everyone gets it.
Awesome. No? Awesome. I'll touch base with Candace and we'll make sure you have what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I thought it was absolutely awesome. And I hope we can have you back one day.
You bet.
What I would like to say is we have the ultimate Eat Like a Vegan Chef challenge in January. And so I'm hoping you will be part of that again. And I think this is going to be a big challenge because it's a detox as well as it is a challenge. And I'm going to really look forward for that.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. And it works out perfect with the new year. So the topic for January that we already picked is going to be detoxifying your household, right? Nice. So as we're shut down in pandemic, what can we do to keep it nice and clean? That will go along great with the whole detoxing piece. Yeah. It's funny, as you guys ask about CBD, that's another topic that I spend a lot of time talking about. Don't know that I want to stay away from those topics that are not supporting food as the first intervention, right? And not just because of chef, but because that's the truth. The truth is you can make the most major change in your life. And how beautiful to have an intersect of people that are already here and know that, right? So you already knew food was going to make a difference. All I did was help fill in some of the blanks for you. So you're on the right path. You're making good decisions.
Wonderful.
You're so welcome, Jacqueline.
Okay. There's, you will see it tomorrow on Facebook. There's quite a lot of very nice comments here. I cannot even. There's so many comments here. But Kay, hey, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, my friend. It was my pleasure.
And we stay in contact. And again, if anyone wants to have more information, I'd be happy to, to email your information out so everyone gets it.
Yes. Yes. And happy holidays. So I'll be seeing you guys after the holidays. So between now and then, eat well. Eat the right things.
Same to you. Happy holidays.
Yes.
And all the best. Thank you so much, Kay.
Thank you. Have a good night. Good night, folks.
You too. Thank you so much, everyone. I really, I'm very grateful that you joined tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it as well. I think Kay did a fantastic job, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. And have a good night.